If you are watching this, someone in your life has probably passed, and now there is a house to deal with. Maybe it was a parent. Maybe you are the one the family is looking at to handle it, and you did not ask for the job. Here is what I want you to know in the first 30 seconds. You have more time than it feels like. You have real options, and almost nothing has to be decided today. I am Rob.labrecque. I sell real estate in southern New Hampshire and the North Shore, and I also buy houses directly, so I have sat on both sides of this. In the next 20-some minutes, I'm going to walk you through how probate actually works, what it costs, how long it takes, and the 3 real choices you have for the house. No pressure, no pitch, just the map I wish more people had on day one.
Let me define the word because it sounds scarier than it is. Probate is just the court process that settles a person's estate after they die. The court confirms who is allowed to act. That person lists what was owned. The debts and taxes get paid, and whatever is left goes to the heirs. That is the whole machine. When there is a house in the estate, it usually has to move through that process before the title can transfer cleanly or be sold. That is why it feels stuck. It is not that you did anything wrong. The law puts a gate in front of the property until the estate is sorted out. A will does not skip probate. A lot of folks think if mom had a will, you just read it and hand out the house. The will is the instruction sheet for the court. It does not get you around the courthouse. The person who inherits the house cannot just sell it the next morning. Until authority is sorted and title is clear, it is the estate that sells the house through whoever is running it, not the heirs personally.
Here's the part almost nobody tells you. You do not have to wait until the entire estate is closed to do something with the house. In many cases, you can list it and sell it while probate is still open. People sit on an empty house for a year thinking their hands are tied. Often, they are not.
So that is the lay of the land. A process, a gate on the house, and more room to move than it looks. Next, who actually holds the keys? Every estate has one person the court puts in charge. The name for that person changes depending on the situation, and the different words trip people up, so let me clear them. If there was a will and it names someone to run the estate, that person is the executor. If there was no will, the court appoints someone called the administrator. In Massachusetts, you will hear a third term, personal representative, which is the umbrella word for either one. Same job under different labels. Why does this matter to the house? Because that person is the only one who can sign to sell it. Not all the heirs together, not the oldest sibling because they decided they are in charge. The court has to formally appoint someone first. So step 1 in every probate is getting that appointment in place. Sometimes it is fast. Sometimes the family has to agree on who it will be, and that is its own conversation. If the siblings are not aligned, sort that out early, because the whole thing waits on it. Once that person is appointed, the estate can actually start moving, and the house becomes something you can plan around instead of something frozen. Next, let me show you how the process works, because New Hampshire and Massachusetts do not run it the same way. New Hampshire probate runs through the circuit court probate division in the county where the person lived. Here's the shape of it in plain order. Someone files to open the estate and be appointed executor or administrator. Notice goes out to the heirs and to creditors, including a notice in the newspaper. Then that person files an inventory of what the estate owns, usually within about 90 days. Then there is a waiting window for creditors. In New Hampshire, they get 6 months from the appointment to bring a claim. Between the paperwork and that window, most estates stay open at least 6 months, often closer to a year. New Hampshire has a shortcut worth knowing, called waiver of administration. When nobody is fighting over who runs the estate, it lets you use a lighter, faster path. It does not erase the creditor reality, but it is a lot less machinery. On selling the house, the property generally has to clear probate before the title transfers cleanly. Whether you need the court to specifically approve the sale depends on the situation, so confirm that with the estate's attorney. Plan on 6 months to a year for a clean estate, but you can often get the house on the market well before the estate formally closes. Next, Massachusetts, which runs differently. Massachusetts runs under the Uniform Probate Code, and the big difference from New Hampshire is that it gives you more than one road. Which road you are on changes what the person in charge can do. Road 1 is informal probate. If everyone agrees and the paperwork is clean, a court magistrate can appoint the personal representative quickly, sometimes within about a week with no hearing. Road 2 is formal probate, where a judge handles it. That takes a couple of months, and it is often the cleaner route when real estate is being sold. There is a small estate shortcut called voluntary administration, but it is only for estates with under $25,000 in personal property and no real estate. If there is a house, that door is closed. Here is the detail even some agents get wrong. The personal representative can sell during probate, but only with authority. Either the will grants a power of sale, or if there is no will or it is silent, they have to get a license to sell from the court. Massachusetts did not make this automatic, so that license requirement is real. One more thing. Creditors in Massachusetts have a full year from the date of death to bring a claim, and title that comes through a probate deed stays subject to those claims for that year. That affects buyers and title insurance, which is why experienced help matters on a probate sale. So Massachusetts, in a sentence, more flexible up front, stricter on the authority to sell, and a longer creditor shadow on the back end. Plan on 6 months to a year. Next, the two questions everyone asks. What does it cost, and how long am I really in it? Cost and time. I am going to give you honest ranges, not a quote, because every estate is different, and anyone who gives you an exact number before looking at yours is guessing. Start with the hard costs. There are court filing fees, generally in the low hundreds of dollars, and a small fee to publish the legal notice. Those are unavoidable, and they are not the part that adds up. The bigger line is usually the attorney. For a simple, uncontested estate, legal fees commonly land in the low thousands. For a complicated one, or one that goes the formal route, or one where the family is fighting, it runs higher. Then there are the costs people forget, and these are the ones that quietly hurt. An empty house still costs money every month. Property taxes, vacant home insurance, which is its own policy, utilities to keep the pipes from freezing. Stacked up over a year, that is real money leaving the estate.
On time. Plan on roughly 6 months to a year for a clean estate. The reason it is not faster is the creditor window. What stretches it past that is usually slow paperwork or heirs who cannot agree. The court costs are small. The thing that actually drains an estate is time. Next, the myths that keep people frozen.
Let me run through the myths, because most of them keep a house sitting empty while it costs money. Myth 1. We cannot touch anything until probate is completely done. Usually false. With the right authority, the house can be listed and sold while probate is still open. Myth 2. There is a will, so we skip probate. The will is the instruction sheet for the court. It does not get you out of the courthouse. Myth 3. Whoever inherits can just sell it. Not until the court appoints someone and title is clear. The estate sells the house through the appointed person until everything is distributed. Myth 4, and this is the big one. We have to empty the house and fix it up before we can do anything. No. One of your real options is selling it exactly as it sits, contents and all, and walking away. You do not have to clean out 40 years of a parent's life to get started. Myth 5. Selling to an investor means getting lowballed. Sometimes, not always. It is a trade. Speed and zero hassle for some of the top dollar. Whether it is worth it depends on the house and your situation. Anyone who says the investor offer is automatically a ripoff is as wrong as the investor who says it is automatically your best deal. Next, your 3 real options. Here are your 3 options for the house. I will give you all 3 evenly, because the right one depends on your house and your situation, and I cannot know that from a video. What I can do is show you the real trade in each. Option 1, sell to an investor. I am one of the people who buys houses directly, so I will be upfront about that. No home inspection, no agent commissions, no cleaning the place out. You take what you want and leave the rest, and proceeds usually come in about a week to 10 days. You are buying speed and relief. You are giving up the chance that the open market brings more. Option 2, list it as is on the open market. Same idea, but you expose it to the whole market instead of one buyer. Realistically, a lot of the interest still comes from investors. There are commissions, the timeline is harder to control, and there will be showings. More exposure than a single offer, but no guarantees. Option 3, prep it and list it the traditional way, do the work to make it show well and qualify for a mortgage. Inspection, clean out, repairs. The cost runs from significant to almost nothing depending on the house. What you get is the widest pool of buyers, including ordinary people with financing, not just cash investors. So that is the menu. Speed and certainty on one end, top reach and price on the other, and a middle. I am not going to tell you which is best, because I cannot from here, and anyone who tells you before walking your house is selling you something. The way you figure it out is simple. Someone who knows this market walks the property and lays out the real pros and cons for that house. Then you decide. Next, where I come in, let me bring this back to where you are sitting. You have a house, a process, and 3 real options. What you probably do not have is someone who has done this before standing next to you while you sort it out. That is the part 1 help with, and there is no catch in it. Here is how I work it. I come look at the property. I walk it with you. I look at the condition and the contents and what the estate needs, and I lay out the actual pros and cons of all three paths for your specific house. If selling to me as an investor is the right fit, I will tell you. If you would do better listing it, I will tell you that too, even though it is a different deal for me. And I am not going to promise you a number in a video because I cannot, and anyone who does is not being straight with you. So if you are staring at a house and you do not know where to start, that is the call to make. Not a commitment, a conversation about your situation. Reach out when you are ready, and we will figure out the right move for you and for the house,